I've been pricing the leftover possessions of the dead for 5 years, but nothing could have prepared me for the Smith estate on Elmwood Avenue. It was a massive house, the kind that seemed to have been built with the sole intention of showcasing the owner's wealth. My team and I arrived at 6 a.m., as we always did, to begin the arduous process of sorting through the belongings of the deceased. The estate sale was scheduled to start in 2 days, and we had our work cut out for us. As I walked through the front door, I was immediately struck by the sheer amount of stuff that filled the house. Every room was packed to the brim with antique furniture, rare artwork, and enough knickknacks to fill a small museum. My team and I worked tirelessly, room by room, pricing and categorizing each item. But it wasn't until we reached the second floor that things started to feel off. The floor plan we had been given didn't seem to match the actual layout of the house. At first, I thought it was just a minor discrepancy, but as we continued to explore, I realized that an entire room was missing from the blueprints. I brought it to the attention of my team, but they seemed just as baffled as I was. We decided to investigate further and made our way to the door that supposedly led to the non-existent room. It was locked, but after a few minutes of searching, we found a key hidden in a nearby vase. As we entered the room, I was struck by its starkness. The walls were bare, the floor was covered in a thin layer of dust, and the only piece of furniture was a single, unassuming chair. It was as if the room had been left untouched for decades. But what really caught my attention was the smell. It was a pungent, acrid scent that seemed to cling to everything in the room. I couldn't quite place it, but it was unmistakable. Over the next few hours, we continued to explore the room, searching for any clues that might explain its existence. We found a few old newspapers, a dusty old radio, and a small, leather-bound book. The book was locked, but after some careful manipulation, we managed to open it. The pages were filled with handwritten notes, detailing the daily routines of someone who seemed to be living in the house. But the dates were all wrong. They were from the 1950s, and the writing style was unmistakably from that era. I was starting to feel a creeping sense of dread as I realized that this room might have been sealed off for decades. But it wasn't until I stumbled upon a particular entry that things took a dark turn. The writer had mentioned a presence in the house, a presence that seemed to be watching them. As I read the words, I felt a chill run down my spine. It was then that I heard a faint creaking sound, coming from the corner of the room. It was a low, deliberate noise, like someone was slowly turning a door handle. I tried to brush it off as the old house settling, but the sound seemed to be getting louder, more insistent. Suddenly, the lights in the room began to flicker, and I felt a cold breeze sweep past me. I knew then that we had to get out of there, and fast. As we rushed out of the room, I caught a glimpse of something that made my blood run cold. The chair, the single piece of furniture in the room, was no longer alone. There was someone sitting in it, someone who seemed to be watching me with an unblinking gaze. I didn't stick around to find out who it was. As we made our way back downstairs, I couldn't shake the feeling that we had disturbed something that was meant to remain hidden. The rest of the estate sale was a blur, as I couldn't stop thinking about the room, the smell, and the presence that seemed to be lurking just out of sight. It wasn't until the sale was over, and we were packing up our things, that I realized the true extent of what we had uncovered. The buyer of the house, a young couple, seemed nice enough, but as they were signing the papers, I caught a glimpse of something that made my heart skip a beat. The wife was wearing a necklace, a small, leather-bound pendant that looked eerily familiar. It was the same symbol that was etched into the cover of the book we had found in the room. I didn't say anything, but as I watched them drive away, I couldn't help but wonder if they had any idea what they were getting themselves into. And now, as I sit here, writing this, I can feel the weight of that presence bearing down on me, watching me, waiting for me to make my next move. I've been trying to convince myself that it was all just my imagination. But the smell is still there, lingering in the back of my mind, a constant reminder of the horror that I uncovered in that room. I'll never be able to shake the feeling that I'm being watched, that the presence is still out there, waiting for me. And as I finish writing this, I hear the creaking of the floorboards, the sound of someone slowly making their way up the stairs, coming for me. I know I should try to escape, but my feet feel heavy, as if they're rooted to the spot. The presence is getting closer, and I can feel its icy breath on the back of my neck. I'm trying to scream, but my voice is frozen in my throat. The last thing I see is the chair, the same chair from the room, and the figure sitting in it watching me with an unblinking gaze. And then, everything goes black. But the question remains, will I ever be able to escape the presence that haunts me, or will I be trapped forever, a prisoner of my own fear?